Good morning. We're going to be reading chapter one, retirement planning. So hopefully you guys will join me and learn something cool. My name is Jessica Yates. I do retirement planning. I'm a specialist. I deal with all ages. It's never too early to start your planning, and it's never too late. So if you need any help, there's a link in my bio. Please follow, and you'll see more retirement planning content. I'm not a big reader, but you can always learn. So here goes. Chapter 1, Planning Your Future. The ideal time to begin planning for retirement is as soon as you start working, which, let's get real, none of us do that. However, for many of you reading this book, this advice comes too late, given the facts you've been in the workforce for a few decades. Don't worry though, it's never too late to start planning. Studies of retirees show those who are more content in retirement are those who did some amount of planning, even if it was a small amount. Hi Lewis, welcome. We're just reading chapter 1 here. Hope you learned something for retirement planning. Brandon, nice to see you here too. And Brent, my name's Jessica. Let's get back into it. Planning is how you match your resources with goals and expectations and identify where adjustments need to be made. This chapter discusses more important themes that run throughout the book. The values of planning ahead and getting on the best path as soon as possible. The importance of taking personal responsibility. That's key, guys. Personal responsibility for your planning, okay? Personal responsibility and significance in taking long-term perspective to make the most of your senior years. We're talking about retirement planning. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot that goes into it, but you're not on your own. So we also discuss how to keep the facts of how to keep the right focus to optimize your retirement planning too, which is key. So planning for the long term. Planning doesn't sound fun. It's not for most people. It isn't one of life's most enjoyable activities, but nearly everyone values the benefits of proper planning. It provides peace of mind, financial security, more options and choices, improves health, and better lifestyle. So planning is important. Again, it's never too early and it's never too late. During your senior years, you have many choices about different financial issues, and you can change some of these decisions after you make them, but others you can't be changed. If you decide to make changes, you have fewer years to benefit from those new choices. That's why your approach in your senior years, planning your finances, is more important than earlier it's more important the earlier you do it in life. In the following sections, we'll discuss the important issues that warrant your planning attention, explain why you take these responsibilities for making that happen, even if you hired someone to help. So if you bring in someone to help you, like myself, I do retirement planning, it's still important that you understand the process, that you understand your choices. While I personally have your best intentions in mind, it's still important that you take responsibility. Don't just trust what someone tells you. Do your research, learn and understand the basics. But there are professionals and licensed individuals like myself that can help you in these steps. And quantify the value of taking your own advice. So, for example, when we do a consultation, I just give you suggestions and advice based on what your goals are. Ultimately, though, you need to go with what makes things fit well for you, okay? Identifying long-term planning issues. What's on your mind or what should be on your mind regarding your financial future. Consider how many of these issues in the following sections require long-term planning. For example, leaving an employer and deciding what to do with your retirement account. Guys, there's I think it's the last article I was reading on it, over $3 trillion of abandoned 401ks. Okay, if you ever worked for a job and had an old 401k, click on the link in my bio. Let me help you optimize what you can do with that. Don't leave it sitting in the old account. It's not going to perform as well for you. It's going to get eaten up by fees. So, side note there. All right. When you change jobs, get laid off, or retire, you often are faced with choices about when and how to withdraw your money from retirement accounts, such as like a 401k or 403b, and maximizing that tax hit and from doing so. Mitigating taxes is key, guys. Moving money is a decision you have to make today, but don't make light of this decision because the decision affects how your money will have impacts in decades to come. Some employer plans allow you to keep the retirement money in place even if you're no longer employed with the company. Mind you, you're going to pay a lot of fees doing that. You may choose to accept the offer to keep the money in place if the plan is a good investment option and low cost. That's key, low cost, guys. Okay. So if you guys have a retirement account, click, make a comment, put a comment in here. Let me know I'm not just talking to myself. So if you have a retirement account, leave a comment. Planning retirement accounts withdrawals requires long-term tax planning if you want to withdraw in the best way possible. For more information, we'll get into that in chapter 5 in future days. Okay. Hi, Timothy. Welcome. All right. Next section here is determining whether you can afford to retire and how much you can safely spend per year. This is the key. Ironically enough, people tend to spend less in retirement because they're so concerned about outliving their money. And so you're not maximizing what you could be utilizing, which is why retirement planning is so key to reviewing regularly. Okay, annually is when you really should be meeting and retirement planning. Okay, determining whether you can afford to retire and how much you can safely spend per year. To access whether you can afford to retire and how much you'll be able to spend after you do retire, you'll have to do some analysis relating to your spending habits and investing holdings and temperament. And to be sure that you don't run out of money, you also need to consider a wide range of scenarios for how your investment may perform in the years ahead. That's key, guys. So even though you're in retirement, your money is still in your investments. It's still going to be growing while you're taking out. I know the typical rule of thumb is 4% of your account value each year. Most accounts you can take up to 10% comfortably, but that's even really high. So the key here is to review your account and your portfolio annually. Okay. As with other aspects in life, differentiate between the things that you can control and the things that you can't. The economy will go through recessions and the stock market will decline. Predicting their timing, depth, and duration is beyond anyone's control. Oh my God, nobody has the secret sauce. Okay, so don't buy into that. Although you can't control these events, you can be prepared for them. Your plan should reflect that by having some flexibility and, if possible, a cushion. We never put everything in one basket, guys. If your portfolio is all in one basket, then you need to click on the link in my bio. Let's set up a consultation. Hi, Clyde. Hi, guys. How you doing? I hope you're enjoying chapter 1 here of retirement planning. Feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions. Deciding when to begin collecting Social Security. Deciding when to begin collecting Social Security is a complicated decision that affected by many factors, including tax laws, your earnings, your spouse's earnings, marital status, among others. We'll get into that in chapter 8. It looks like I'm getting a message. Sorry, guys. All right, so we'll get into that in chapter 8. You'll have years ahead to have the appropriate decision when it comes to Social Security. Weighing the options to buy more life insurance. Guys, listen up here. When others are dependent on your employment income, you may need some life insurance coverage. And depending on your specific assets, the type of life insurance you may most benefit from may change over the years. Guys, that's key. Your life insurance plan likely is going to grow and change with you. What you need when you're in your early 20s is not the same as what you need in your 40s, 50s, and 60s, okay? To determine your life insurance needs, you should have a good sense of your current financial assets and current and future obligations. More and more adult children and grandchildren are living with grandparents, which puts that strain on them. So life insurance is very, very important, no matter what age you are. Developing your estate plan. Your financial circumstances will change in the years ahead. So too will tax and probate laws. So you want to stay up on that. Review annually. Planning your estate involves many issues, including ensuring your own financial security, taking care of your affairs in the event you are unable to do so yourself, and protecting and providing for your heirs. Now, taking responsibility, personal responsibility for your financial future, okay? No one's going to do it for you. Our lives are filled with responsibilities, jobs, family obligations, bills, household maintenance. We all tried to make time for friends and recreational visits as well. With all these competing demands, it's no wonder that many folks find that planning for their financial future continuously gets pushed back further and further on the back burner. Most people don't have a time, desire, or expertise to make good financial decisions. But you've taken huge steps by buying this book. Well, I bought the book just because I like to read, but I am a financial retirement specialist. So take that step, click on the link in my bio. I'll be happy to help financially plan, give you some details. I'm licensed with multiple states as well. So drop a comment of what state you're in and then book an appointment on my calendar from the link and we can kind of get into it for you. And trust me, it's not terribly boring, but it is something that's very important. All right, from this point forward, we urge you to always remember that you and only you can take full responsibility for your financial future. I'm here to help, guys, but your financial future is up to you, okay? Of course, you can hire advisors, delegate certain issues that you're to a willing and competent spouse or other beloved relatives. But at the end of the day, it's your money on the line. Delegating your responsibilities without knowledge, understanding, and some involvement is a recipe for disaster. You could end up without vital insurance, be taken advantage of in terms of fees, and even defraud among other unsavory outcomes. Guys, that's so key. Make sure you're with a licensed professional if you're going to hire somebody. But even licensed professionals, they don't always have your best interests, okay? So understand what you're doing and getting into. Saving and planning sooner and smarter pays off. Well, duh, okay? The sooner you can get control over and optimize your finances, the bigger your payoff will be. You should never rush into making any changes that you don't understand and haven't had time to properly research. Procrastination comes with many costs, okay, including the loss of financial opportunities. Creating the financial plan and sticking to it is important when planning for retirement. We'll get into more in chapter 3, okay? Keys to retirement planning. All right. Although you may like to consider other factors such as your health, relationship with friends and family, and other interests and activities as more important than money, the bottom line is that money and personal financial health are extremely extra important factors to your retirement lifestyle. Getting caught up in planning the financial part of your future is easy. It really is easy, guys. After all, money is measurable, okay? It's measurable. So it revolves around the money component of retirement planning. So what can you do to successfully plan for retirement? You can simply work really hard and spend lots of time making money as much as possible. But what would be the point if you have little free time to enjoy yourself and others? Guys, that's so key. Retirement planning is important, and one of my biggest advocates or messages that I give my clients is I don't want you to have top ramen right now to be able to afford retirement later. I also don't want you to have put a top ramen in retirement because we didn't plan for you now. So keep me in the loop. I'm more than happy to help, but it's important you start something, and anything is better than nothing, okay? All right. Fortunately, you can implement the following strategies when planning for retirement, okay? Saving drives wealth. Let me say that again. Saving drives wealth. You may think the higher income is key to having a prosperous retirement, but research shows that the best ways to retire blissfully is to save. Research demonstrates that wealth accumulation is driven more by the choices to save rather than spend a person's income. So the old saying, more money, more problems, that is so true. Just because you have a higher income doesn't mean that you're going to be able to save more or you'll be in a better spot. What ends up happening is you spend more. So you got to look at your habits, you got to look at your goals and figure out a balance, okay? Which is what we're getting into next year. It's not what you make, but what you keep. That's important to building wealth. Of course, earning more should help make it easier to save, but most folks allow their spending to increase when their income does. Yeah. All right. Keeping your balance. Most people know that when you have one goal when it comes to their money and personal situation, people want to save for retirement, pay for their children's college education, travel, pursue expensive hobbies, and have money available for a number of things. Having multiple goals competing for limited dollars is often the norm. Thus, you must decide how to trade off competing goals, which requires personal considerations and balance in one's life. Hey, Big Papa, welcome to the feed here, whatever this is called. I don't go live often, but we are reading chapter 1 of retirement planning and just having a discussion. So drop a comment if you have any questions. All right. Unless you have really deep pockets and modest goals, you need to prioritize and value each of your goals. Planning is a process. Let's get into this. To have a good retirement, you almost always need to have a plan. Financial planning is a process. Too many people develop a plan and think you're finished. Guys, just because you get a plan doesn't mean you're done. A plan is based on assumptions and forecasts. However, no plan, no matter how carefully it is developed, gets all the assumptions and forecasts correct. Even when working with a financial advisor or a licensed professional like myself, we don't have all the answers and things change. So even your best guess may miss the marks. So every year you need to do a retirement review. Every year, annual review. As you are reviewing assets, how much reality differed from your assumptions. Sometimes you'll be pleasantly surprised. Your portfolio will earn more than you expected, or you may have spent less than you estimated. Other times, the review won't be as pleasant. The market may have dragged down your portfolio returns, or spending may have exceeded your estimates. In either case, you aren't reaching your goal. Get that. In either case, you're not reaching your goal. So even if it does better than you thought, or if it doesn't do better, as good as you thought, you're still missing the mark. Now, you might be exceeding the mark, but the goal is to evaluate those goals every single year so that you can make adjustments as needed. All right. Even if you don't meet the mark in most instances, you are still never really done planning and revisiting. You're bound to experience changes in your life, the economy, the markets, the tax laws, and other areas. You may come across new opportunities that were available for you a few years ago that weren't available to you now, but they make sense now. You need to continuously adapt your plan to these changes. You may need to adjust your spending and change your investment portfolio. You don't have to be obsessive, okay? I am OCD with making sure all my T's are crossed, I's are dotted, but you don't have to be obsessive. Just get someone like me to obsess for you. No. Just, you don't have to be obsessive. Daily or even quarterly changes of your portfolio are not going to be that different for your plan and aren't reasons to go back to the drawing board. But every year or so, or when you have major changes in your personal situation, I call those qualifying events, anything that could potentially affect your retirement. So you get married, you have a kid, you change your job, you get a pay raise, and someone unfortunately passes away. Any of those things are qualifying events that you want to review your portfolio. All right. Figure out what went right and what went wrong. Decide whether your goals or situations have changed and whether any adjustments are needed. Finally, implement a new plan and enjoy life. After all, that's what money is for, okay? Money is meant to enjoy life. All right. Hi, guys. Welcome here. We're just getting in, actually almost through chapter 1 here, learning about retirement planning. I am a retirement specialist, so feel free to click on the link in my bio and drop me a follow because I'm always giving good retirement advice throughout the course here. All right, retirement worries. Guys, this is key. What are the worries and fears of retirees and senior citizens? Thanks to research and studies, we know what most people are concerned about, and we discuss everything that you need to know in this section. Knowing this information helps you plan ahead and prepare. Guys, if you know what the concerns are in retirement, then you can address those in your plan. So that's key. So listen up here. The challenge for most people is retirement is financially unlike any other period in your lives because retirees generally are working less or not at all. Retirees have more free time, which to spend means they can spend more money and have less time to earn money. They are living off investments and monthly benefit checks. During most wage earners' worker years, their income exceeds their spending, and psychologically they're used to that. For many retirees, on the other hand, spending exceeds income, okay? Using more medical services. Retirees use more medical services even if they have comparatively good health within their peer group. They need more medical tests, spend more on prescriptions and over-the-counter drugs, and have more medical problems. Many seniors and near seniors understand these changes, which is why they worry about money and other retirement issues. Many fears revolve around the concerns about running out of money. In the following section, we'll discuss these specific anxieties, why they exist, and what you can do to address them, okay? So, running out of money. In Eric's prior work, with near retirees and retirees on, one worry far exceeded all amongst his clients: the fear of running out of money, which is huge, guys. Even, excuse me, every people who possess what seems like plenty of money even worry about not having enough money. Later in this section, we'll illuminate the sources of this fear and give you our own take on what you can do about it. Some senior deals with problems of running out of money by continuing to work and during retirement. You may need to make some slight adjustments and work part-time during retirement, or even a small business to help make ends meet. So here's ironic. So I'm also a psychology major. And when you retire, you get really depressed. You don't really have a plan. You're used to having waking up at going to work as a routine, a schedule, a habit. In retirement, it's not a bad thing to work part-time or start a little small gig, because it'll help with those fears of running out of money, but it'll also give you some purpose, which we'll get into further in other posts. Supporting others. Plenty of seniors are concerned about making ends meet for the duration of their retirement, but seniors aren't focused on their own finances in most cases. In fact, to the contrary, they are also concerned about other family members whom they are taking care of financially. More than 4 in 10, guys, 44% of retirees in America support one or more people living outside of their home. Among those receiving support are adult children, which is 53%, grandchildren, 37%, elderly parents, which is about 12%. Before hitting retirement, plenty of near scenarios getting sandwiched, providing for their own children and helping their aging parents. How can near seniors who then end up retiring accomplish all of this? Considering the following reasons. They continue to be frugal. People who save and invest during their working years generally continue to do so in retirement. The best savers often have trouble learning to live off their money in retirement. They have a desire to help loved ones. Most seniors adore their offspring, and most seniors adore their offsprings, and nothing makes most seniors happier than helping their children, grandchildren, and extended families. Sometimes you also have to help your aging parents. They have fears about outliving their ability to fund and become burdens to others. There's great uncertainty about how long one or person or couples will live, as well as what will happen to their personal health. Most people assume that they'll live longer and perhaps need extensive medical care later in life. As a result, they keep more money saved. However, retirees often overlook the fact that Social Security keeps paying benefits as long as you live. Money left invested will also continue compounding and growing over the long term, so long as it's invested intelligently, of course. They spend less on many things later in retirement. Qualitatively, as soon as folks cut back on work, they spend a lot less on work-related expenses, from clothing to commuting to buying fewer services, compared to when they are far greater demands on their time. Even more active seniors, as mobility is reduced later in retirement, travel and shopping are more reduced. Yes, people spend more on some things like healthcare as they age, but in general, they spend less, which leads folks to having more money that lasts longer than they may have guessed. So, they live a wealthy country with economic bounty. So America is still a wealthy nation and provides a relatively high standard of living for a vast majority of people. Yes, in the years and decades ahead, the United States will likely be sharing its economic superpower status with other emerging high-growth economies, but the economy should still continue to grow. So, next section here is addressing your worries. Dr. Franklin Lutz, the author of What's Americans Reality Want, really hypertension, a perfect poster and focus group organizer who is a steady retiree focused on group and research surveys. He developed a list of the 7 most frequently asked questions about retirement by people at age 60 and older. As we introduce these questions, we'll include expectations of how to address the worries and feel better about each. The first 6 items dealt with senior ability to manage his cash flow and match his income to his expenses. The last item on the list, concerning maintaining independence and mobility, is partly related to income and expenses too. So, questions along with our explanation. So, obviously we don't go through all of those questions, but there's 5 questions here that we'll kind of dive into. Will I be able to afford health care when I get too old to work? Am I one medical emergency away from bankruptcy and ruin. Yes, you should be able to afford healthcare in retirement. And no, a medical emergency or major illness does not have to bankrupt you. It doesn't. Medicare is a pretty comprehensive major medical insurance plan that can include prescription drug coverage. You can also buy long-term care insurance and a Medicare supplement plan. Is Social Security going to be there for me? Yes, it should be. We discuss this worry later in Chapter 8, so we'll show you how you don't have to worry about that. We'll get into that too with future live sessions. Will prescription drugs be so expensive that I'll have to choose between medication or food? No. The vast majority of prescription drugs have been in the market for many years and have competition from generics, which keeps the cost down. You can also purchase a prescription drug coverage plan through Medicare. Will I run out of money before I run out of years? No. Social Security benefit, which increases annually with inflation, continues for your life. To ensure that you invest dollars stretched as long as possible, be sure to follow in Chapter 5 and 7. We'll get to that. Finally, if you're a homeowner, the equity in your home is another financial safety net that you need additional resources later in time. This is also a part of a planning session that we can do. There are many investments where you can get guaranteed lifetime income from that investment. So that's something that to keep in mind too. Will I be financially and physical burden on my spouse or my children? Will I lose my independence and mobility? These two questions are hard to answer and address. Financially, you should be fine in the long term with advice provided in the book and through a consultation, so click on the link in the bio. However, you can't predict your health. As you age later in older years, you'll experience an inevitable reduction in mobility and the ability to do some of the things that you historically have been able to do. Make sure most of your health for as many years as possible by taking sensible steps to maintain good health. All right, guys, so that is it for Chapter 1. We will get into Chapter 2 another day. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you would like more information on retirement planning, I am a licensed professional. You are welcome to like and follow and click on the link in my bio for a free consultation. All right, guys, I hope you have a great day.